Perhaps I can read
Yes,
to you.
can you please
Perhaps I can read
yes,
to you
can you please enlighten this committee?
the timeline.
Yeah, I understand because the timeline is very essential, no, in determining the possible violation of the law.
So the first item on our timeline is July 29, 2024. The Silay City Council passed the resolution number 24293 authorizing Mayor Judith Gallego to file a petition for the lifting of the important cultural property that is ICP designation for the Silay City Old Public Market. On August 8, 2024, the Silay City Government, represented by Attorney Janus Harder, submitted a petition to the NHCP requesting the removal of the ICP designation of the Silay Old City Old Public Market. The submission includes photo documentation, as-built plans, a conceptual development plan, and the City Council resolution. On August 9, 2024, the petition was formally received by the NHCP. On August 22, 2024, the City Mayor of Silay, Judith Gallego, issued a clearance attesting that the old Silay City Public Market does not hold local historical, socio-cultural, or agricultural significance.
So, sorry to cut you there, Chairman, kasi malapit na po ang 3, actually more than 3, past beyond 3. For my last question, and I yield back my time, maybe I can continue on with my question in next hearing kasi magti 3 p.m. po. Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang pong tanungin itong resolution na ito sa city government, I guess, no? Or maybe I'll start with Chairman. May ano sila resolutions na pinasa to lift yung ICP designation for Silay City. Old public market. Ibig sabihin, kung ito ay na-classify under the law, mandated ng NHCP to designate cultural heritage 50 years and beyond, can the city council supersede that by a mere ordinance or resolution, like taking away that designation? Kasi sinabi na, they lifted the important cultural property. It's no longer the public market, is no longer part of the has no value whatsoever to the community. Beside, despite the fact that under the law, 50 years na establishment is considered as part of a cultural heritage assets. What will be the possible violation of this? That's a law. We are, Madam Chair, we are citing a law. The Republic Act 10. Yeah, take 06. And then it's mercy supersede by just a mere resolution lifting the important cultural property. Ibig sabihin, wala kaming pakialam kung 50 years na yan kasi para sa amin, hindi namin dinedesignate yan as part of a cultural property.
NHCP.
The actual wording in section 6 of the actual wording, sir, of the section 5 of 10066 is the property owner may petition the appropriate cultural agency to remove the presumption of important cultural property which shall not be unreasonably withheld.
But anyway, Madam Chair, I guess we need to return to the plenary. I have a very, I'm trying to really balance out how an establishment that has aged for more than 50 years, regardless whether pangit ito or hindi, no, can be automatically, no, completely abolished, completely demolished, which basically, Madam Chair, would run contrary to very spirit of the law, which is dapat kung 50 years na yung establishment na yan, and especially if the establishment is not a private property, but has serviced the entire community for more than 50 years, ay damandalian lang natin sirain. No? Ganun lang po yung akin.
So otherwise, so we need to go back to your question. Can a city ordinance supersede
supersede the law?
the law declaring the property as ICP? This is for the information and clarification of the Filipino people, most especially the LGUs who might be confronted by the same situation.
Exactly.
May we request the guy assisting
Yes.
our chairman to please identify himself and perhaps
If the chairman
participate?
wants to delegate the answers,
May I delegate the answer the
yeah,
technical
please, yeah.
to Architect Ray Dahil,
Okay,
head of
okay.
our heritage.
Madam Chair, may I request that the architect of NHCP be be recognized, and may I request Madam Chair Comsec to administer his oath.
Comsec, please administer the oath.
Acknowledge, I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
State your name. Do you your name, sir?
Uh, My name is Reynaldo Lita of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines.
Sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee? So
Yes.
you got.
Yes, of course. I'll go back, I reiterate my previous question earlier. Can a city ordinance or municipal ordinance supersede the provisions under Republic Act? Sorry, I'm not familiar, 10069. 66.
Yes po, sir. Under RA 10-066 po, all cultural properties dating 50 years old and above are considered important cultural properties. However, if the property owner or the LGU deems that they want to demolish it or
I have to file.
repair, they can apply for the removal of presumption as ICP. It will mean that you will strike the presumption of the property as ICP.
So it's a good thing you mentioned the word apply. It does not mean that they have the right and the automatic authority to just assign any establishment and then lift the cultural importance. So ibig sabihin, they need to apply for a certification from you.
Yes, yes, sir.
So it goes back again to the issue of timeline. Na there was already a decision by the city council to demolish it, di ba? And when they started their demolition, tsaka sila nakita nila na teka lang mukhang meron tayong na oversee dito, and that's the time that they requested for for the certification perhaps, no? And I've been ano po yung naging response niyo? Again, can we get the answer of Chairman?
Based on the request, we have our annual monthly board meeting, and this was held on October 23, 2024 in Iligan. Where the NHCP board approved the removal of presumption as important cultural property of the Silay market.
After the fact, that's why, after the fact. So, ang tanong ko lang po, even if you approve the demolition, but it will not retrospectively give authority to the city council, no, to proceed with the demolition, now without your permission, di ba? So parang ganun ang nangyari. So what is the possible violation, Madam Chair? If, for example, a certain LGU could, proceed with the demolition of a certain establishment without applying. So ano po yung tawag niyo doon sa application na yun na binibigay ninyo?
Does the law, is that the charter of the NHCP, sir? The one which provided for the provision.
It is under
166.
1066.
So does it provide for a penalty in cases of violation?
Kasi ang pagkakaintindi ko, sorry po, kapag kakaintindi ko po, even if there were already or there was already a, say for example, a permission na binigay po sa kanila, it will not, ang pagkakaintindi ko, it will retrospectively condone the possible violation of certain provisions in the law. Tama po ba yun, ang pagkakaintindi ko?
And we have to take cognizance also of the fact, Honorable Adjong, that in the issuance of resolutions and ordinances, the same must not be contrary to law, rules, jurisprudence as part of the general limitation. In other words, when the city of Silay issued that ordinance or resolution, it is apparently contrary to law, the one which is being implemented by NHCP, and therefore is considered void. Please identify yourself.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'm Renard Pailanga, City Engineer of Silay City. For the information of this honorable committee, I would like to correct, may I respectfully correct the word demolition. This project involves a major rehabilitation and uplifting of the Silay public market, which means we will be, at present, the building has 2 stories. So it is composed of 2 buildings, Building A and Building 1. So Building A, we will be building a 3rd floor, so additional foundation works will be needed. So at present, we have not yet started the construction of the project because after the bidding last year, we submitted the proposal to remove the presumption that the market will be removed as an important cultural property of the city. So that's why we have not yet started the building itself, but only the relocation sites, because this project involves the removal or the vacation. The tenants need to to vacate the building so that the construction could begin. So what we are doing right now is improve the construction of the temporary stalls so that the tenants could vacate.
Okay.
So
You're
the
saying that-
NHCP clearance was recently approved only.
You're saying that you did not initiate the construction because you're
Yeah.
waiting for the application for the removal of
For the
ICT.
approval, yes.
Nonetheless, you proceeded with the rehabilitation and
Not yet,
upscaling of the building.
not yet, Madam Chair.
So you did not initiate any of those, whether construction,
Not yet, ma'am.
rehabilitation, upscaling, wala.
Only the transfer stalls are being built.
Madam Chair.
Chairman Paduano.
Anyway, that's correct. That's the fact. But the fact also is you have a MOA, a loan agreement with Land Bank in relation to the development of such market, di ba? Tama? Na supposedly,
Yes, sir.
is supposedly before that plan, for the development of such structure, dapat tumingin muna kayo ng clearance. Before entering, MOA with Land Bank. Land Bank, I should have checked.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I should have checked, di ba? Kasi may laws ngayon, National Historical Commission, kailangan nila ng clearance. So supposedly that clearance from the National Historical Commission should be part of requirement. Kasi mag-apply sila ng ganito kalaking halaga for the renovation or improvement of such property or such structure by the city government, owned by the city. Eh, ang question kasi dito, yung intention. Yung intention. Kasi, you're not starting yet, but in fact, tayo kayo ng mga stalls din sa kabila. For what? Says of all those now market vendors in that place, kami lilipat para i-develop yung lugar. Yun yung buong concept, di ba? From the very start, yun ang concept. Ang sinasabi ko lang po is the intention such loan. Manila po yun. Na supposedly dapat before approving such or before planning for the development, rehabilitation of that market, the city government of Silay should have get an approval. National Historical Commission. Yun po ang buo story po. Hindi sabihin na, hindi pa naman namin ginawa yun. Please, you apply yun sa Land Bank. Nakonsummate yung MOA. Well, in fact, a fund was already released for that purposes. In the absence of the clearance from the National Historical Commission. Yun po totoo. At engineer yun po totoo, di ba?
Mr. Chair, the public market is located outside the heritage zone of Silay.
But 55 years old. At it was cited by by the National Historical Commission as part of the law.
But we have not yet started the construction.
You have sabi ko, engineer, you have not started. But the intention is for you to have a loan in Land Bank is for the development, and di ba? Process of developing that market, di ba? Sabi nga ng National Historical Commission, before you doing it, if investigation na to,
Direction na.
di ba? So kayo, kaso sa ombudsman, diretso kayo. Di ba? When the fact telling us, telling me, my intention is different. Turning, hindi tayo pinanganak ng tapon. We were not engineer, we were not born yesterday. Malinaw po, the intention nyo from the Lord is, in the absence of not securing the National Historical Commission. Hindi po malinaw. Na tayo dito magulan, kaya nga ililipat yung mga tao doon eh. Sa mga stalls eh. Di ba? So ano? Oh, malabo. Yes, Chairman.
Sir,
Madam Chair.
so again, ma'am, I am Marcelis Pineta, the budget officer.
Before we allow the budget officer to
Correct.
respond.
Congress Manager.
Yes, I had a question earlier. I think I want to.
Let's go back to
respond
NHCP.
Yes, gusto ko lang po ang point lang po ni Chairman Caraps is that yung certification or yung clearance from NHCP should be a prerequisite before proceeding to any legal arrangement with any banks, no? Kung maglo-loan. I think that's the main thrust of the manifestation. Na dapat before kayo mag-enter into a MOA or mag-sign into a MOA, dapat meron na kayong clearance from the very start. That's a prerequisite. That's actually the go signal. That's the green light. Ibig sabihin. And that just to be fair, Madam Chair, just to be fair, engineer, just to be fair, I would correct myself if I use the term demolition. Okay, I'll use the term upscaling, but that does not change the fact that even whatever infrastructure changes, architectural changes, remodeling, upscaling, whatever terminology of nomenclature apply to that, it does not it does not excuse you from not securing first the clearance from NHCP before you assign or lift the cultural importance of that particular establishment for you to proceed with your programs and projects. So I guess that's the gist of the manifestation na dapat prerequisite yun. Kailangan yun. Green light yun bago kayo mag-enter into MOA. Now, Madam Chair, with the indulgence of Chairman Caraps, I'd like to go back to the NHCP. Yung nangyari po with this particular case, no? My question is that, number one, would that supersede the law? Sabi nga ni Madam Chair, it will not, di ba? We agree on that. A resolution can never supersede the law. Number two question is, what are the violations? Kasi given the fact that hindi sila kumuha ng cert clearance sa inyo o hindi nila na-security clearance bago nila gawin yon, sabi nga nila, hindi pa sila nag-umpisa pero nag-loan na pala sila. So what are the possible violations? For the academic discussion, Madam Chair, because this might be a way to maybe to polish the laws and the policies that we have here currently, no? So natin malaman.
Actually, may I read from
Yes, please.
Section 5, Article 3, Cultural Property of 10066. Section 5, Cultural Property considered important cultural property. For purposes of protecting a cultural property against exploitation, modification, or demolition, the following work shall be considered important cultural property unless declared otherwise by the pertinent cultural agency. Unless declared by the Commission, works by Mankind by Museum, unless declared by the National Historical Institute, works of national heroes, marked structures dating at least 50 years old. The property owner, sabi ko na kanina, may petition the appropriate cultural agency to remove the presumption if ICP, which shall not be unreasonably withheld.
So ibig sabihin, they need to petition you first before they can even discuss it in the council.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, Madam Chair, it's very clear under the law that before the council can actually adopt a resolution, no, changing or remote or yes, do you have an additional response?
Because part of our checklist of requirements for removal of presumption as important cultural property, we require the local governments to have sanggunian resolution or ordinance removing locally the presumption as ICP.
Yeah, but that would qualify as a petition because that's a different thing, ah.
Yes.
The chairman mentioned about petition. So my understanding is that the city council needs to appear before you and request and a petition that they have already lifted this and that would also be subject for your approval. Is it correct?
Yes, sir. Included in the resolution of the sanggunian or the letter of the mayor should be that there is no local historical or cultural significance within the
Okay.
structure.
So how do you now balance? How do you now balance, for example, under the law, the 50 years, more than 50 years, would be considered automatically by the application of law, be considered as a cultural heritage. To that, assigning, giving powers to the council, assigning whether this establishment has no value to us or has value to us, kumbaga parang ganun. Parang nakikita ko ngayon is that on the premise of the council's power to assign that value to particular asset in their community, they can either assign cultural value or not. With that of the provision under the law, that 50 is automatically considered as cultural heritage.
Yes, sir. The local government may also declare a property
Kasi ang
locally.
hindi, what's the use of 50, what's the use of that provision kung meron naman palang discretion ng local government units to assign whether this establishment that has been existing in existing in 100 years ay hindi na sa amin valuable. I mean, what's the purpose of that provision, Madam Chair? I'm just trying to balance it out. Yes, I yield to Chair.
Honorable Angkop is recognized.
I think, Mr. Chairman, 10066 speaks of two items. One is your presumed important, what do you call that? Important cultural property, di ba? At saka, it speaks also of your national historical landmark. Magkaiba po yun, di po ba? Under the law, 10066. Yung NHL, National Historical Landmark, hindi po magagalaw yun ng basta-basta. But yung presumed important cultural property, the law provides na pwedeng alisin yung presumption na yun. Di po ba? That's how I understand the law. Hindi ko alam kung tama po yun.
Tama po.
Thank you.
The presumption is when it is more than 50 years yung property na yun. Di po ba? The presumption exists after 50 years of existence. Tama po.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, now my question is that how can we balance that? Thank you, Chairman Ako, for clarifying that. I'm just having trouble of understanding if the provision of the law automatically applies or automatically assigns a certain property or asset or establishment beyond 50 years as cultural heritage, how can we now sit out with the power of the LGUs to reassign or take out the value of a certain asset that has been existing over 50 years. Gusto ko lang, obviously, this is in aid of legislation. We want to, if there are inconsistencies in the law, we want to also correct that.
Yes, sir. Those are very good questions. Actually, we need more teeth in this law, but we have always been trying to be corresponding with the local government units, and so many times we just receive news na meron nang ginagawa, and then we send a letter to the appropriate LGU na please send us more information, and then we send our own personal once in a while to these people places. Tapos nakita namin may violation, then you rescind a cease and desist order.
Yeah, walang penalty. And I think the problem here, Madam Chair, is that that specific provision, yung 50 years and beyond, yung asset, hindi automatic yung pag-classify niyo as part of the national cultural
Hindi
heritage.
po, it's more like a blanket.
Yes.
That was conceived many years ago when marami nasisira. Tapos,
Kaya-
okay, so to just stop everything to protect everything, it is made, no? But
Thank you.
it needs more teeth, as we say, in the federal legislation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, my previous question is what are the violations committed? Are there any penalties? For example, wala naman, no? I mean, like for example, in this particular case, the MOAS was entered into prior to the securing of your clearance. Diba? Parang ganun ang nangyari. Supposedly, it should be the other way around.
Jong, let us simplify our question to penalties po ba?
Under the Public Act, what?
166.
We'll look po. Meron pong penalties pero nasa ano po siya.
It is usually almost at the end of the law.
Anyway.
Penal provision.
Anyway, Madam Chair, even indulgence of,
Chairman Paduano.
can we direct na lang po, then also the National Circle Commission to submit in this committee the timeline. All the timelines.
Who's
All
the timeline?
timeline and communication, not only communication from the local government, but to other related agencies, no, in relation to the subject matter. Thank you,
Madam Chair, because it's 3:30 already, I yield back my time. I will continue my inquiry perhaps in the next committee.
Thank you, Kong Ajong.
Thank
The
you.
Honorable Akop is recognized.
Madam Chair, before we go to the plenary, preliminary question lang, Madam Chair. May I know if Vice Mayor or any of the
Yes,
local officials of Silay, are you aware of Section 123 of Republic Act 7653 or the new Central Bank Act?
Not so privy about the specific of that
Okay,
law, Your Honor.
yeah. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, are you aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I am aware of Section 123 of RA number 7653.
And Section 123 of Republic Act 7653. You're aware of that.
Yes, Mr.
And what does it provide?
It requests that any borrowing by the government or its instrumentalities, particularly for domestic borrowings, there should be a prior monetary board opinion requested. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, may I know if Silay City or the local government unit of Silay City applied for such or followed Section 123 of the Central Bank Act? Are you aware of such compliance?
Mr. Chair, based on our records, the city government of Silay has requested for a monetary board opinion and has been issued in 2023 and in 2024, Mr. Chair.
They have complied with it.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And including all the complex set of required documents or information and which were elevated, supposed to be, to the monetary board.
Yes, Mr. Chair, they have complied with and
So,
they have issued.
As the last question from me today, kaya po ng kanilang financial statement, yung kanilang borrowing.
The BSP opinion on the borrowing by the city government of Silay does not provide any assessment of its fiscal capability. The MB opinion is particularly limited to the economic implications of the loan, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, tama nga po yung sinabi po ninyo. It's provided for by yung Appendix 53 of the Manual of Regulation for Banks. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
In the interest of time.
Yeah.
I lament that we will be continuing with the inquiry in aid of legislation. On the next scheduled hearing, Comsec, do we have the next scheduled hearing? So they are
Madam
notified
Chair,
already.
we have not yet scheduled the next hearing.
So we will be sending the notice for the next scheduled hearing. We thank all the resource persons for taking time to attend our hearing today, and we will be inviting you again for the next hearing. Certainly will be held next year, January.
Madam Chair, I move that we suspend the hearing.
Second, there's a motion to suspend, duly seconded. Our hearing today is hereby suspended until next year, January. Thank you.